Hello and welcome to Metavice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm your host, Karen, joined with the other host,
Brian.
And Brian's not feeling the best, so I'll do most of the talking, and he'll just be here.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I'll talk a little bit here, I think.
Yeah. Anyways, for this episode, we're going to be talking about the Chaos and Carnage tour that was at the Radius on May 9th.
Friday, May 9th. Yep. Here in Chicago.
For Brian's numbers, the ticket prices were $39.50, $9.55 in fees, $4.77 in tax, which is a 24% tax rate.
Yeah, not too bad. Rate. Not too bad. And honestly, the price isn't that bad because we haven't even mentioned who the bands were yet and how many bands we got to see.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when I read the $39. I figured it was double that.
Yeah, I did too.
So on this tour, which is like kind of like a traveling festival, we got 7 bands with a co-headlining of Dying Fetus and Cradle of Filth. And then going down the bill, we have Fleshgod Apocalypse, Obliviscaris, Undeath, Vomit Forth, and opening was Corpse Pile.
Yeah, so 7 bands.
For $40.
Yeah, that's a really good deal.
Even with fees, it was like, what, $50?
Yeah, I don't remember what the prices are. I always fill this out as soon as we buy tickets, and I never look at the prices again until we do the episode. And only like the really high prices stick out in my head, and sometimes the really low prices as well.
Like if it's like $10 or $12 or something.
Or even like Guns N' Roses, we paid $25 to get like the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
And it was super hot that day.
With the spiders.
That was $25 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
So this I was expecting, I would have assumed it was going to be like $69.
Yeah, 69 or like 79. Yeah. That's what I would think too for 7 bands.
Yeah, but no.
It's crazy.
$40 face value is not bad at all for 7 bands.
Yeah. So starting out, we got like one of those emails that they sent out all the time that's like know before you go type things.
Right, yep.
For the venue. And they announced that doors were 4 and show was 4.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
The first time that we encountered it was when at least that I remember from when we like really started going to shows, was Upheaval.
I was thinking if that's what it was Upheaval. Yeah. I thought there was another show we went to, but I can't remember.
There could have been. That's the first one that's coming to my mind.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but I remember like we've been to at least one show, maybe a couple shows that, you know, it's doors and show starts at the same time, and I fucking hate that so much. And I think when we've talked about this in the past, I think we did an episode on Upheaval, right? That was like one of our first podcasts.
I don't know if we ever posted it because
we recorded it. Yeah,
we also got COVID during that time, so it was really hard to like record.
So I can't remember, but to me, whenever I see that, it's like, fuck this. This is sort of like a high school kid thinking of like in a business class in high school or in like the first like graduate, or not graduate school, but in like college class, like make up a business and like, this would be really cool if we have the doors open and then as soon as you walk in, the band's playing. How awesome would that be? No, it's not fucking awesome at all. It's stupid as shit.
You're missing the band. Like,
you are.
And so we got there before 4 o'clock because we wanted to make sure that we saw.
No, we got there like right at 4.
Right at 4, yes.
We left work a little after 3:30, and it's about a 30-minute walk for us.
Yeah.
So we got there like right at 4, a little after 4, and as we're walking up, a guy was like, line's not even that long.
The line's really short. And I'm like, awesome. Because the last show we saw here or at Radius was Whitechapel and Lorna Shore.
Yep.
And the line was down by the interstate, around the corner.
Basically wrapped all the way to the back of the building.
Yeah, like to
around
the
block.
Lot.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was a sold out show. People were there to see every band, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't want this to be the case. We were talking about it as we walked up there of, how is this going to be? Is this going to be people just trickle in all night?
Yeah.
Like, we were unsure how this was going to act.
Yeah.
But the line wasn't that long. People did trickle in throughout the night.
Yeah, they did, yeah. But, I mean, it wasn't sold out either.
It was not sold out.
Plenty of room. I mean, even at the end of the night.
As we'll talk about here.
Yeah. But, I kind of thought that because I was like, if it's 4 o'clock, and just thinking about normal logistics, like if you have to work on Friday, or, you know, it was a work day, so, like, if you have to work and you have to get into the city or go home from work or whatever to get there, I was like, more than likely people aren't going to show up right at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, and I don't know, it was very frustrating, and when I was going into this, I was already sort of in a bit of a pissy mood because of that doors 4 show 4.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, this is stupid. And we ended up getting in. The doors didn't open till like 4:20.
Yeah, 4:20. Yeah,
they're about like, and
we got in at 4:22, so it was like it must have been like pretty quick.
Yeah, and as soon as we get through security, we hear the first band, Corpse Pile, take the stage and start playing. And so I think that's exactly what they were trying to do. I don't know if that's like because we want that experience of people, you know, walking in with the sound, or if it's we've got 7 fucking bands and we need to be out of here by 11.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
Let's get this shit going.
Yeah. I don't know how other cities did it. So, I mean, that
I
could
don't.
be...
and I don't know who makes that decision around doors and performance. If it's a venue thing, if it's a security thing, if it's a promoter thing, the band thing, or a combination of all of those. I would assume it's the promoter and the venue working together to figure out what it is more than anything.
Yeah.
And the bands just said, "Hey, take the stage at this time, do this."
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
Yeah, but we were kind of getting. I mean, other people online were kind of getting a little antsy too. Like they did say 4:00, right? You know, sort of thing. And but I assumed since doors were going to open at 4 and just our last experience at the Radius of getting in, I was already ready to miss 2 bands.
Oh,
like kind of like that whole thing of like we're not going to see anything. So walking into the first song of Corpse Pile was okay in my mind.
Was it okay in your mind?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like that either. I like to have at least a 30-minute gap, you know, to allow people to come in. But I was at least happy that we weren't missing the entire set.
And the other thing with getting in late or the doors opening late is they had 2 VIP packages. We got one of them. And there was a second one that we didn't get that came with a meet and greet as well. So I don't know if the meet and greet was running long and therefore it was holding up everything else. Yeah. There was the one kid who came out of the door of the venue, shouted, "Fucking Slayer!"
Yeah.
And like one other person in the crowd cheered Slayer or something. And then he went and like, "Come on, let's go." Like grabbed his dad or something, and they all went in. So I don't know if he like had a family member meeting him or trying to park a car or something, or what was going on there. But maybe that's what also sort of delayed
like if the meet and greet didn't get over. Yeah. Because I think that happened when we did the Bloodywood meet and greet actually. Like that they were supposed to open doors, but we weren't done yet or something.
It's definitely happened with some venues we've been to where they do the meet and greets ahead of time, and then like those go long, so the doors sort of like are delayed.
Yeah. So
that's the only other thing I can think of. But regardless, I was frustrated going into this even before getting there that like the doors and the show started at the same time. That pissed me off right away. So I was like, fuck, I'm not going to have a good time tonight because of this.
Yeah, you need to stop that.
I do need to stop that. I do need to work on that because, I mean, by the end of the night, I was perfectly fine. Once we got in, I was kind of pissed that the band had already started playing as we were walking in.
But they played like 30 seconds of a song.
But that shouldn't matter in my head. Like, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I feel bad for Corpse Pile because they did not have a large crowd at all. Like, when we came in, I mean, we could have been second from the rail.
I mean, I was up that close at first. We were on 2 separate sides, really. And, like, I took a photo of it, and there's, like, nobody in there. Because as soon as people get in, they go and get their merch. Yeah. They go and get beer and, you know, whatnot, and just wander the venue potentially as well. So, I don't know. This did make me think about a possible 666 as well, of, like, talking about venues and how they can change. Because, I mean, I compare it to, like, sports ball, right? Like, you don't have the doors or the gates for baseball open at the same time first pitches.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't fucking do that. You open 3 hours before first pitch, and people still show up. Yeah. And they're buying your food. They're buying your shit.
The drinks and stuff, yeah.
But, all right, why are people more willing to do that for sports than they are for, like, concerts? Or are they willing to do it? And that's sort of, like, the conversation I was thinking around a 666 episode, around, like, what can venues do around getting people in earlier type thing. But that was sort of where my mind was during all of this.
Oh, okay.
Before getting into the bands, you want to quickly talk about the VIP merch we did buy?
Oh, sure.
The package. So we got an email a little bit before this all started, and it was basically Chaos and Carnage saying, hey, there's 2 VIP packages, one with one with the meet and greet and all the merch items, and one with just merch items. We ended up getting the one with just the merch items, which came to be $68 after fees and everything for that package.
I mean, I guess it's worth it for what we got, because that would be about the same amount. So basically we got a poster.
Yep.
Actually, it's probably a better deal than if you bought it all separately.
And this is normally why we buy VIP packages, because they come with a poster and a shirt, which this did.
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Sometimes. I don't think the Arch Enemy one or the Behemoth one came with a shirt.
Oh, it did not come with the shirt. It came with dog tags.
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Anyways, so we got the VIP lanyard, which we didn't wear, but then we got a poster, which is just the announcement basically, and then the dates on the bottom, and then we got a shirt, which is the same picture of the announcement, and then the dates or the bands and dates on the back, and then we got a flag, a wall flag that is huge. And
very big.
It has all the bands on it, not the dates, but all the bands.
Oh, does it? I didn't look at the flag.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And then we got, was that it?
A bag as well.
Oh, a plastic bag to put it all in.
So you had to go up through the merch stand. They had your name down. You told them the name. They grabbed all your shit, threw it in a bag for you. Had rubber bands for the poster. I didn't look at the actual prices for each item because I'm pretty sure you could buy all those items separately if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So I didn't look at those to see if you actually saved money by doing this. But like if you just piece it out yourself, $40 possibly for a shirt. You can even lower that to $30 if you want to be, super nice shirt and whatnot, cheap shirt and whatnot. $15 probably for a flag at the low end.
Oh, low end, yeah. And it's pretty big, so it's probably like 25 or 30.
Yeah, and then the posters typically $50 for a poster.
How much?
50 typically for like a Metallica type poster.
Yeah, this isn't Metallica though. I bet it was 15.
I was gonna say this is definitely like a poster you get from like Spencer's Gifts or something, right? Like that cheaper material type stuff.
Probably a $15 poster.
Which I'm completely fine with. Like we'll get it framed someday, and it's just gonna look just as good as all the other ones. But yeah, so even then, $15 for that. So. And then 10 cents for the bag. So, I mean, that's...
You're counting the freaking bag.
In Chicago, plastic bags cost 10 cents a bag.
They do.
There's a value to that bag now.
I enjoyed having the bag because it was kind of warm in there. Like, until probably Cradle of Filth.
Yeah,
Is that when they turned the air conditioner
After
on?
Cradle of Filth, we wandered around. That's when we started filling it. Yeah, the air conditioner.
But we wore sweaters because we walked to this venue and...
And it's fucking April, so of course it's not going to be nice.
It was May.
Whatever, still.
I know. It was a
springtime in fucking Chicago and it's cold. I hate it so much.
I liked having the bag because then we coat checked our bag or bag checked our bag, whatever you want to say, and put it in, or we shoved our sweaters in with our merch and put it all in a locker thing. So. And
they were cool here at the Radius where they're like, you can buy other merch and come back and load it back up into, like they gave us a little cubby basically to throw it in.
Yeah, like it was like a locker, yeah.
They did tell us not to lose our ticket though because they do not accept pictures.
Yeah, which is crazy because at the rave they're like, take a picture of it in case you lose it.
Every other venue I go to, they're like, take a picture of it in case you lose it. So I don't know what happens if you lose your ticket. What the fuck? What do you do then?
Well, I just wonder, like, because somebody could technically just find it on the ground. I mean, either way, somebody could just find it on the ground and then be like, this is my merch.
Exactly.
This is my stuff.
So I don't know. Weird.
But anyways, let's talk about the bands because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I just want to say that was a really cool, not cheap, but it was a good deal, I think, for that VIP package that we ended up getting.
Yeah, yeah. And, like, we only do one of those normally.
Yeah, we don't need two, yeah.
Bloodywood we did two just because we
both wanted the photo.
Yeah.
I will say this, the VIP that came with the meet and greet also included early entry. So I think that's, again, where, like, you come in early for the...
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Okay.
I guess I was just going more to like the getting back into like why you would do showtime and concert time at the same, like doors and concert at the same time.
Try to get people to buy the VIP.
Exactly, try to buy the early entry. Yeah. Like they're trying to force people to.
But we didn't even know that it was 4 o'clock until like a couple days before.
Exactly, I know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
But anywho, let's get to the bands because as you said, that's what we're here for.
Yes.
So Corpse Pile, what do we have for their set list?
They start with, well, first of all, this is from the New York show. Because the Chicago show didn't have anything.
Yeah, I think almost all these from Setlist FM are from different shows almost. There might be a couple of overlaps, but yeah, they're all from like the not Chicago, and they're all not the same.
I won't say all of them then. But they start with Genesis of Suffering, Kicked in Cadaver, Vengeful Hymns, For Flesh and All, Stacking Bodies, Fed to the Starved, Reality, and they ended with Fuck Your Life. So for an opening band to play 9 songs is kind of crazy.
Hardcore-ish band, so
that's what I was gonna say.
Punky hardcore, so they're pretty so quick
they're
songs.
Like hardcore death metal.
Yeah.
And so they're very, very quick songs. I don't know if the Chicago show maybe got cut a little shorter. The vocalist, and I'm sorry I couldn't find the band names or band member names, but he said that he hurt his foot the day before. And I did see him on crutches later in the night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we were standing by those, so on the left side of the venue, there's like the doors.
Yeah, yep. Stage
whatever.
right. Yep.
Yeah, stage right. There's like doors. And he came through the doors and he had crutches on. Or not crutches on, but he was on crutches.
I saw a bunch of people go through there, and I think they're all different members of the bands and crew and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you get to like the green rooms and backstage.
So,
yeah.
And there's also people standing there to not let you go through the doors.
Yeah, yeah.
And we kind of stood a little bit too close one time, and nicely he was just like,
Yeah,
hey,
he's like, can you scoot forward a little bit here?
So I mean, the doors are used. So
yeah.
But anyway, so he mentioned that a couple times where he was like, I fucked up my ankle or fucked up my foot. Like, I just want to get this over with so I can go sit down.
Yeah, not in like a bad way.
Yeah,
like fuck this, but more of like, my fucking foot hurts like hell. Let's power through this. Let's get this fucking over with.
Which now we've seen 2 shows where, like, recently, because the other one was, I can't remember what band it was, but it was during the
Paleface Swiss?
During the Paleface Swiss show, but I can't remember which band member it was, but he pulled his back.
Oh, yes, I remember that. It was the second band. Who were they? We have this on our spreadsheet. We can quickly...
Stick to your guns.
Stick to your guns, right.
But anyways...
And I remember talking about that, like, no, you didn't. Like, if you threw your back out, you were out for good. Because I was out for good basically that same time, or a week before.
Right. And I've been having, like, foot issues, potentially arthritis in my foot. I don't know what's going on, but I've had really hard times walking and standing lately, and I've thought the same thing where I'm like, fuck, I can't even hardly stand here, and you're jumping around on the stage, and, like, you can't even tell, though, like, that he hurt himself. But anyways, that was just something that I remember from the show.
I remember that. I do remember also he called out a Chicago death metal band. I can't remember the name of it.
Shit.
He said it a few times, and I did save it on my phone, I think, or what I thought was the name. And I need to look it up because he's like, if you've never heard this, you're not like you're a poser or some shit like that.
Gord something.
Yeah, Gord somebody or other.
So the band is Gord Embraced, and they are from Chicago, but he was wearing their shirt.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah.
So, but he was basically like, who's heard of Gord Embraced? And nobody.
There was one person who's like, Chicago Death. And he's like, that's right, Chicago Death.
That was on the stage.
No, that was behind.
Oh, I thought it was somebody from the stage.
No, because at this point, you were over on stage right, and I was over on stage left. Because, again, your foot was hurt, so you were standing further back.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get the pit. Like, there were people doing hardcore shit, and I just didn't want to be in the middle of that.
Right, so I was a little closer at that. But, yeah, it was, like, over my right shoulder at that point. Somebody yelled it.
Oh, okay. I thought it came from the stage, but...
And, like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't offended or anything. He was like, if you don't know this, you're a poser type thing. I hate that mentality of like, this is what real metal is. You're like that whole sort of vibe and mentality. Like, there's a lot of fucking metal out there. Yeah. You can't listen to it all.
I mean,
so
look at the last 3 years. We've probably seen 220 bands or more. And there's probably 5,000 more bands that we haven't seen or don't know about. Like,
so I mean, I learn about other bands by going to live shows. So thank you for introducing this band to me. Now I need to go and dig them up and listen to them, and I will. But like that whole mentality of like, if you don't know who they are, you're a poser type thing. It's like, fuck off with that. Yeah.
Maybe it was just because he was in Chicago and he knows that they're a Chicago death metal band. And it's like, you know, you don't know death metal if you don't listen to them.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
Our defense, we're not originally from Chicago, and we know who Slipknot is.
Sure. I don't know. I mean, overall, though, other than that one little thing, I enjoyed their set a lot.
I enjoyed their set a lot, too.
I enjoyed his energy, the whole energy of everybody in the band, even though his foot was hurt and everything. I thought the sound was great. I really liked their sound.
Yeah, I like their music a lot. For hardcore, like hardcore death. Like, I'm not... Normally a hardcore I don't gravitate to, but it was more death metal than hardcore. So
yeah. Also, the stage setup for them was very, very crowded because they had all the gear from all the other bands up there, which I do enjoy, like, seeing when, like, it's fun because as the night goes on, you see what pieces are coming down, what bands have what. And I did notice during their set that there was, like, a full-blown fucking piano up there. Not a keyboard, but an actual fucking piano. And I was like, based on the bands, the only band I really know from here is Cradle of Filth. But based on the band names, Obliviscaris, that band, I can't say their name. I might be saying it wrong. Yeah.
But I've been trying to pronounce it since the show, like, multiple times.
I assumed the piano was theirs based on their name and, like, how they spell it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a doom vibey sort of death metal stuff. This is going to be cool. I'm super excited for them. but it wasn't, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But other than that, anything else for them? For Corpse Pile?
I think I mentioned this maybe, but I think the thing that kind of disappointed me for Corpse Pile was the crowd size. Obviously, people were filing in, but I mean, they basically played to, you know, like an underground club size crowd,
But in a big room.
But in a huge room. So my whole thing is, I think it was Barry Tomorrow mentioned it when we saw them here in Chicago a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't a sold out show. There was plenty of room. It was a bottom lounge. There was plenty of open space and all that. And they basically said, like, we're going to put on the same show tonight that we would if we were playing in front of 1,000 people, sort of thing, or, you know, vice versa. And I think that Corpse Pile did that. Like,
yeah, I got that. I mean,
obviously,
too.
I've never seen them before. We've never seen them before, but I think that they put on probably the same show that they would have put on if they were, you know, in the Cradle of Filth slot and the venue was full. Yeah,
they didn't bitch about it at all. They went out and put on a killer fucking show. So I give them props for that for sure.
But with that being said, I made the comment where I'm like, oh my God, if Vomit Forth was out here right now with this empty crowd.
So, all right, let's get into that a little bit. Let's get into Vomit Forth a little bit. Start with their set list.
Okay. They start with Fixation on the narrative, Non-Responsive, Sacred Apple, Victim Impact Statement, Entanglement, Unclaimed Cadaver, Rotting Wool, Blood-Soaked Death Dream, Negative Penance, and then they ended with Pain Tolerance.
All right, so Vomit Forth, you've seen them before. I have seen not. Them before.
And I've talked about them a lot on our podcast.
Have you? Okay. I know you've talked a lot about it with me and other people as well.
I've mentioned it a lot. So if you're a regular listener, thanks, Anjo. But I am not a fan of Vomit Forth from the performance that I saw when I was in Ireland at Dolan's. They were on tour with Cow Decapitation, Signs of the Swarm, and 200 Stab Wounds. They were the first opener in a very small club.
Yeah, I saw the AC/DC tribute band there, and it's a very tiny club.
Yeah, it's like it's a bar, restaurant, a club with 3 stages.
It's almost like the size of the Reggie's venue.
Yes, yeah.
I guess Reggie's has a balcony too, so a little bit of a bigger balcony, but for the most part, it seemed like the Reggie's Rock Club or whatever their main venue is at Reggie's.
Yeah. So I got there before the show started, but there was hardly anybody there, and I was standing off to the side. It was my first show ever being by myself. Not that that matters, but
no, I think it does, because like you go in nervous, especially your first time for your first show alone.
Yeah,
in a different country, no less.
In a different country, yes. I mean, they do speak English, so it's not like it's one of those things where I couldn't speak that night though. I had lost my voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyways, that doesn't matter. That's not part of it. But a lot of people were just getting there, and they were just getting their beers, or they were out at the merch table, because the merch table was kind of out in another little area that was between the restaurant and the venue. And Vomit Forth goes on. They're playing like normal hardcore, you know. I think they're like a death metal band.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, move on up, move on in. Like, you're at a fucking metal show. Like, what are you doing? Like, all this stuff. And they just keep doing it. And like, there wasn't the crowd to have like the pits. Like, there was like 3 guys in the pit or whatever, but there wasn't a crowd for it. Like, nobody was there yet. And then there was the one phrase that got me was, I came from fucking America to play for you guys, and you guys are not, you know, energetic enough for me or whatever.
Yeah.
And that just, I was just so pissed, because I'm like, I came from America to see you play, and all you're doing is complaining. So shut the fuck up and play.
And my comment when you told me about this originally was more of, we've been to like In Flames. In Flames to me does this a lot as well. They've done like every show I've seen them outside of last year at Milwaukee Metal Fest, where they closed down the second stage, because that crowd was fucking insane. But typically they're like, I thought Americans were loud. I thought Americans were like a good fucking crowd. You guys aren't giving me shit. Or, you know, something along those lines. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing here. But that's the vibe I get from In Flames all the time as well, of just sort of like not taunting the crowd or making fun of the crowd or anything, but, you know, just trying to like poke them enough to get more energy out of them. And I guess I can kind of see that here with Vomit Forth as well. Or that's what I was saying with Vomit Forth. Yeah. Oh, they're just doing the same thing. And you said like, no, it's a little different and whatnot.
I thought it was a little different because I mean, even since then, we've been like the one show that keeps coming to my mind is we saw Frozen Soul and I can't remember who the other band was. Gatecreeper at Bottom Lounge.
And Repentance.
Yeah. No. Repentance was with Orbiculture.
Oh, they were. I can't remember who was with them. Whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But anyways, so that crowd just, I mean, there was like the 5 guys who were in the pit or whatever, but it just wasn't an energetic crowd. And you could tell that both bands were really, really trying or whatever, but they never berated the crowd and been like, why the fuck are we here if you're not going to do anything?
Yeah. And also like bring it in. You're at a rock show. Like you don't need to be this far back. I get that as well. That makes sense. Like bring it up. Yeah. So going into Vomit Forth, I kind of had what what your experience, what you told me it was going to be like. And they start playing. Honestly, when they started playing, I really liked their music. I think their music is actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
I like their music. When they play.
I didn't take it. So, all right, let me take the step back here. When they started playing, you went in trying to give them a second chance.
I did, yeah. And I even said that multiple times. I'm like, I can't wait to see them again. I want to see their performance. I want to see what.
Was it just an off night or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it very similar to Dolan's here for Vomit Forth, or was it slightly different? Did you walk away this show? Yeah. Was it similar? Did you walk away with the same impression?
I walked away with the same impression. Yeah. The crowd here there wasn't a huge crowd yet. It was like 4:30, 4:40 or whatever. No, probably like 5 o'clock.
It was closer to 5. Yeah.
But anyways, it wasn't a huge crowd, but there were people in the pit. There was people going hard even in the pit. They did the whole, move it forward. Like, we don't fucking care about the pit. Like, just move forward sort of thing. So they do that, and then immediately they go into it to get the crowd moving. And it's like most people know what's happening. So if they don't want to be in that type of crowd, they're not going to move forward sort of thing. And then they said, why the fuck are we even here playing?
Did they say that?
They said that.
All right,
and that pissed me off so bad.
Okay, I didn't hear that necessarily. And also going into this show, you were looking at like comments or something on like Facebook or something.
I did. So it was a sponsored post for Chaos and Carnage.
Okay.
And then like the second comment was like, what a banger lineup. Like, this is going to be a fucking awesome night, except for you have Vomit Forth on the lineup or whatever, and they're the most, I can't say the word, atrocious band out there.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember what the comment was. I knew it was something along those lines, and it made us laugh going into it. I didn't necessarily hear that, like, why the fuck am I even here thing. I understood the lead singer's sort of approach. Again, I understand what he's trying to do and why he's trying to do what he's doing. It's, let's get more energy. Let's suck as much energy out of this crowd as we can. I didn't find it as berating of the crowd as, like, I had assumed it would have been based on what you had said. So I didn't find it berating of the crowd at all. Maybe a few bits here and there, but for the most part, it wasn't really berating the crowd. I did find it very obnoxious and annoying that he was talking so much.
Yes.
And again,
after every single fucking song.
Not even after every song. In the middle
of songs, yes. Yeah.
And again, it was that Pale-Face Swiss show, that first band, which we just looked it up.
Nasty
did the same thing where the lead singer was talking. I believe it was him, wasn't it?
No, he was. Yeah, like in the middle of the song, he would talk. Yeah.
Like do his crowd interactions and whatnot there. I get it. You're early on the bill, so you don't have a whole lot of time to do the crowd interaction. But I did find that very, very annoying and very not frustrating, but it's like
it's a little off-putting though.
Yeah, I don't like this. Yeah. I want to hear the music. I don't want to hear you. Give me more. Circle pit. So yeah, that was a little frustrating for me, but otherwise the music was great. I did like his singing. I did like the energy of the band themselves. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that constant and I don't know, I go back and forth with the crowd banter and whatnot. I like that when the crowd banter feels genuine. This definitely did not feel genuine. It's sort of like, these are my talking points. These are what I have to say.
And definitely now that I've seen them twice, in two different types of shows. I mean, granted, both they were like early open. Well, one, they were the first opener this time. They were the second opener, so very early on the bill. But it's like, I get the same vibe out of it where I'm just like, I don't think I will see you again just because it was so off-putting to me. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I just don't like bands. I guess it kind of goes back to Ronnie Racken with the whole, like, thing at Rockfest where he just like gets pissed off and leaves the stage. I mean, granted, Vomit Forth never leaves. It has never left the stage that I have seen. I personally will not seek out to see them again.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we're going to put them on the playlist, so when it comes up, I'll listen to it. And there's probably going to be moments where it's like, who the fuck is this? This is good. And like, oh, it's Vomit Forth. So it's definitely going to be music I listen to again, because I really did enjoy the music. But yeah, that crowd banter and whatnot. Yeah. So I don't know if they're on a bill for a show I want to go see. For sure, I'll check it out.
No, like I was going to say that. Like,
I'm not going to show up late to a show if they're on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they're on the bill, I'm not going to show up late just to skip them.
I might need to look at merch while they're playing. I'll decide.
Yeah. But all in all, again, it was, I don't know, it was interesting going in with your perspective, sort of not outlining what my perspective would be, but sort of giving me something to go on going into it and expect, or like, here's what the things I need to look out for. Is it really as bad? And it wasn't necessarily as bad as I think. And you didn't
hear him say, "Why the fuck am I here playing?"
I didn't know.
Oh my god! Because even when he said it, I went like this. Like,
I do remember you doing that.
I'm like,
and
seriously.
I know he said something. I don't know what the fuck he said. I wasn't paying attention. So I don't know.
But at the Dolan show that I saw in Ireland, the very next band was 200 Stab Wounds, and I told you, I was like, you're gonna love them.
And I did.
When we saw them a couple weeks ago, you loved them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. We have a few more bands here. And I'm going to be completely honest here. I do not remember them.
I was just going to look them up because I kind of don't remember them either.
It wasn't that I don't, because it was a bad show, a bad set or anything. I do remember enjoying the set. It was very, at this point in the night, it was death metal, death metal, death metal. Like very similar sounding. Yeah. Few nuances here and there between the acts and whatnot. But it's the third band of 7, so it's like, fuck, what? Like, it's all blended together now. Yeah. They're not standing out to me, other than the fact that I don't remember not liking them. You know what I mean? Like, I do remember liking them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much to say about them because I don't remember. All I remember is the crowd did get more filled in, and there was a really big pit, I think, during them. But
yet another big wall of death.
Oh, yeah. This was the band that I think that they did a wall of death. Either that or it was Vomit Forth, and they did a wall of death. And all night at the Radius, they have, like, people come through and sweeping up trash or, like, cups and stuff, or mopping if somebody spills something. And I think when it was either Vomit Forth or Undeath, I can't remember. But they were calling for a wall of death, and somebody was mopping the floor.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I was off to the side. So it must have been during Vomit Forth, because I was on stage right. No, stage left, excuse me, over by like where the restrooms are. And the guy with the mop just like walks out and he's like shaking his head like.
I don't remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I don't think you were with me, and that's why I'm like trying to figure out when it was.
Gotcha.
But anyways, it was funny.
Yeah, so unfortunately I don't have a whole lot to say about Undeath.
I know. I want to see them again. I liked their music a lot. I remember that, and I remember I think they mentioned like that they were a brutal death metal band or something, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I think I like brutal death metal because I really enjoyed this. But I was enjoying the death metal after death metal death metal.
Don't get me wrong, I was enjoying it. It just was very similar.
Yeah,
repetitive.
Yeah, we have that sometimes like at Decibel or something when it's like similar bands playing one after another.
Yeah, and with 7 bands, it's hard to stick out if you're the same.
Yeah, but the next band is totally different.
Yeah, so let's get into them.
The first song is... Okay, so they only have 4 songs on the Setlist FM for the New York show, but there was the same 4 songs on like 2 other ones, so we think this is correct, and they have very long songs. So
yes.
This could be correct that they only played 4 songs. The first song is Equus, Suspry, Painters of the Temptress, Part 2, Triptych Lux, and then they ended with And Plague Flowers, the Kaleidoscope. So this is the band that you thought was going to be like the doom death metal band.
Yeah, and that they would have a piano.
The piano.
But they didn't have a piano.
What was the first thing we saw come out on the stage?
The violin.
The violin. And it's just, if I remember right, it just starts playing with like violin, right? Nobody else is on the stage.
I can't remember. And even the intro music or sort of the house music between the changeovers, which... I will say this, the changeovers all night were crazy fucking quick.
They had that down pat.
Outside of Vomit Forth, where they were doing their changeover. They're like, whatever, we have 6 minutes, can we get house music up? And they left the stage.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Because they were done. But they were done before it was ready to. They were supposed to go on.
Yeah.
So I think that was a positive for Vomit Forth though, that they were done with their changeover early instead of being like.
Maybe, or like you could have just started playing right then. You could have gone early. I don't know how strict that is.
I guess. Well, we didn't have set times. Like they didn't announce set times for it. So, but I think that this set started with just the violin on the stage and nobody else was out there, if I remember right.
I can't remember 100%. But again, like I was starting to say, and what got off on a tangent like I always do, the house music leading up to it, I think, was like classical music. Or at least softer, slower music.
There?
I think so. It was definitely between this set and the next set as well.
Okay.
But it may have only been between those two sets. I can't remember. Like, again, it's all sort of melding together. And I don't remember at which point the violinist came out, but he may have started by himself. And the drummer as well came out.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I can't see now. I'm getting this mixed with the next band.
I remember, so I think it was like a violinist and then one of the guitars came out.
Yeah.
The drummer may have been sitting there or whatever, but it all kind of build together to make the music, and then the vocalist came out.
Well, the violinist started singing as well.
Oh, right,
and he had like the softer melodic vocals.
Voice. Yeah.
And I was like, I fucking love this music.
Yeah.
This is not death metal. This is maybe kind of doomy. It reminded me of The Keening or Dreadnought a little bit.
I was this much worried that I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Even though I was so excited when I saw the violin. And
the violin came through really well. The sound of the violin was really, very loud. His singing was beautiful, and it fit so well with the music. And I went back to those Decibel shows with those two bands, Dreadnought and The Keening, and being like, this is a fucking curveball to throw in for all this death metal. And, like, this is fucking awesome. I love when you can do this. And at this point, this is when I started, like, starting to notice the band a little better, because it wasn't so, not repetitive.
Oh, repetitive, I see.
But, like, every band being very, very similar. Yeah. This was so different than everything we had heard up to this point. Yeah. That I was like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Yeah.
I did notice when they were playing, like, there wasn't much movement in the crowd until the vocalist came out and called for it during the second song, I think.
The second vocalist.
The second vocalist. Sorry, I'm saying the violinist. He had backup or had vocal parts, but then not the actual vocalist. I shouldn't say that, but the death growl vocalist came out.
He only had vocal parts.
Yes,
and he'd come out and he did that death growl, which I was not expecting. Go ahead.
But it went together so well.
It did go so good.
I love those bands where the vocals go with the music and the music it just all blends together. And that's what I was trying to say is like how it started with the violinist out there. Kind of Mother of Graves is this way a little bit, where they start with just a little bit and then it builds and builds and builds. Yep. Unlike Mother of Graves, though, these fuckers shut the fuck up and I didn't hear much talking anyway.
No, I didn't hear much. Not Mother Graves. These motherfuckers being Mother Graves.
Sorry.
But the crowd itself.
The crowd. Yes. Sorry.
I will say that.
Said that really weird.
I will say that all night as well. I did notice like the crowd was really, really great for this. Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of chatter.
Yeah.
There was a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it was very good. The crowd was fucking awesome.
Yeah. But I loved this so much, and I can't wait to listen to more of them. They are from Australia, and they are a progressive death metal band.
Okay, I can see that for sure.
Progressive melodic death metal band.
Yeah, for sure, I get that.
Probably, yeah. But when the violinist started and then the guitarist started, I immediately picked up on the progressive part, and I was like, oh, it's like progressive metal. And then once the vocals came in with the death metal, and then the death metal guitar, like what do you call that? A guitar
riff.
When the death metal guitar riffs came in and everything, it just all came together for me, and I was
it came so well.
I figured, I was like, you're gonna love them.
Instantly I was hooked.
Maybe your favorite of the night.
Oh, for sure, hands down my favorite of the night. And I mean, the only reason I really wanted to go to this show was for Cradle of Filth, which we'll talk about here in a second. But this for me stole the show. Yeah. This is honestly, it stole the show for many, many shows that we've seen this year. This is
really?
This one act alone is like up at the top of every act I've seen so far this year. This has got to be close to the top for me.
I do it. Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say something else.
Well, I guess the one other thing to say is you did say they were from Australia. The death metal growl guy, he's from Chicago.
Oh, is he? Okay, so I knew that they said they're 1/6 from Chicago, and I didn't know who was from Chicago. I missed that little part. So,
yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, so he's from Chicago, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I did not expect them to be from Australia. I assumed like European somewhere.
Oh,
like,
yeah, maybe.
like
yeah.
North Europe somewhere. I did not expect Australia, but no, it was, the sound came together so well. The performance was fucking awesome. And then when you bring those death growls in with the melodic, soothing vocals, so fucking beautiful together, and they just fit perfectly. But yeah, going up to this, like having, very, again, not repetitive, but to me a little repetitive, and then throwing this curveball in there was really nice to mix things up. And we've seen that with other shows, like Decibel has done stuff very similar to that, right? Where they throw in these curveballs with like the keening and
the keening. The keening did not fit. It was stupid, and I didn't like it.
I enjoyed them so much. They were fucking awesome.
No,
and Dreadnought as well. I really enjoyed Dreadnought.
The keening was not good.
Any hoodles. Yeah, Neo Obliviscar for me, and they even said they come to Chicago.
Obliviscaris.
Whatever, I can't say that.
I might be saying it wrong.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I don't know.
But it's not Obliviscar. That's all I'm saying.
Obliviscaris, sure, whatever.
Obliviscaris.
Any hoodles. They did say they've been to Chicago a lot. They come to here a lot. They said, I did not know about them. Now I know about them. This is something I'm going to check out every time they can come back, hopefully.
Which is 100% why we go for early bands, openers, and why we love shows like this, or we've mentioned Decibel multiple times, or any festival, because you find the bands that you would not normally go see.
Yeah.
So
openers, like that's how we find most of our bands, is going to shows and seeing them as openers. And then it's like, holy fuck, these guys are awesome.
Exactly.
Let's go to their show and see who they bring along with them to like, keep it rolling and whatnot.
Yeah. And that's why we like to see all the bands. We don't like to be like, oh, we only want to see Cradle of Filth, so we're not going to show up till 8 o'clock.
So after they left, like then it started going into like sort of classical music.
Oh, okay.
In the house music. For sure. Definitely during that. I don't know if it was before their set, during their changeover, but before this changeover between them and Fleshgod Apocalypse, it was definitely classical music. And I thought it was just sort of their exit music, right? I thought that's what it was.
Okay.
And they pull back the tarp for the piano for Fleshgod Apocalypse. I was like, all right, so they're going to use a piano for their set. But I was not expecting, based on the name alone, what we got for Fleshgod Apocalypse.
Had you ever heard of Fleshgod Apocalypse?
No.
Okay. I had heard of them, never heard their music, but I had seen their name or heard people I don't know, probably on Instagram or something talk about them. Never heard anything about what their music is. And in my mind, I was like, oh, it's like Dying Fetus, or it's like a really heavy, deathcore type band or something. Like, that's just what I was envisioning.
I was too, but when they pulled back the tarp for the piano, I was like, all right, there's going to be some melodic shit in here as well. So I was expecting like really heavy melodic, like almost Cradle of Filth-esque. Okay, yeah. Because Cradle of Filth uses the piano very, very well in some of their songs.
Yeah, the keyboard. They have the keyboards,
right? Yeah. So I assumed it was going to be something very similar to that.
Yeah.
But, just like, black metal, death metal. And not what we really got with them.
What did we get?
Well, so for the set list.
Oh, do you want me to read the set list before we talk about them?
Yeah. Why don't we do that?
They started with Ode to Art, I Can Never Die, Minotaur, The Wrath of Poseidon, The Fool, Pendulum, Blood Clock, Sugar, The Violation, and they ended with Blue Daba Dee Daba Da.
Yeah, that blue song.
The blue song.
So when they came out, it's the keyboard or the pianist, and he's sitting there playing, and there's a woman who comes out and is singing in an operatic style.
Yes.
With the Italian flag, 'cause they're from Italy, and like beautiful singing, beautiful piano, and I'm like, this is fucking not what I expected.
No.
And then you have drummers. The drummer came out, like, what the fuck is going on here? And then some guitars came out, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking awesome.
Yeah. I thought, at first I thought maybe, and I think her name is Victoria. I think I looked it up. And I think her name was Victoria, the opera singer. Yeah. And at first I was like, maybe she's just out here for this one song. But then I'm like, why would you fly somebody to Chicago or to the U.S. for one song.
Yeah.
And she is kind of like in like a black dress, if I remember right.
Very Victorian style. Like everything was Victorian. Like the keyboard or the pianist was out there in like a Victorian suit.
Right. Yeah.
They had candles all over the place. Very sort of gothic-y and vampirish.
Definitely gothic, like a gothic revival type, like with the black colors and everything like that. Yeah. But and then she had like a face thing on, like a face,
like the bird cage, like the veil.
Cage,
the veil.
with like chains on it and stuff. And at first I was like, oh, so she's just like a normal opera singer, or so, you know, something like that vibe or that look or whatever. And then as soon as she gets done singing Ode to Art, like she puts her leg up and she has like torn tights and like everything, and then she's just like, you know, in like a normal metal voice, like, what the fuck's up, Chicago? And then I'm like, oh, so she's gonna stay out with the band and she's gonna be one of the main vocalists and like that whole thing. Like,
because then, like,
all brought it together.
Yeah, because then like the guitars came out and they would sing the death growls, and I can't remember, did they switch back and forth between the two of them?
I don't remember either. If they both had vocal parts or like how it all went together.
Yeah.
But I mean, she kept singing, and when she would sing, it wouldn't normally be like the opera or like the more high-pitched vocal sounds and stuff like that, like an opera singer has.
I will say I really, really enjoyed this band as well. Seeing them and like, holy, this is something new and different that I wasn't expecting. Definitely based on the name, I wasn't expecting this. No. So
God, no.
I was like, what the fuck? This is awesome. I did start to drift a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if it was just sort of like I was chilling out, enjoying the music, and then my mind sort of drifted and whatnot. I did definitely like Obliviscaris better than Fleshgod Apocalypse, but I still really enjoyed Fleshgod Apocalypse. There was one moment where I was like, fuck this is stupid, is when they called for a wall of death.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So up to this...
That was like the third one, right, of the night?
So there's 7 bands. They're the 5th band to play. Yeah. Up to this point, I think there were 4 wall of deaths up to this point. They were the 4th one. I think everybody but Obliviscaris did a wall of death, if I remember correctly. And two things. One, their music isn't wall of death music. So why the fuck are you doing a wall of death?
Yeah.
2, I'm kind of sort of getting over the wall of death. Like, it used to be a really cool thing that not many people did. Now it's like almost every fucking band expects you to do a wall of death.
We just saw like at the Vic, they called for a wall of death.
Yeah.
And like nobody moved. It was like, okay, now you go.
Yeah. So,
but it was just kind of stupid.
It's losing its sort of luster and appeal to me because every band that goes out there is like, now let's split this fucking floor in half.
Yeah. I think the first time I ever saw it, which you saw it when you were like 16.
It was my second show, Lamb of God did it, and it scared the fuck out of me. So when they call for it and you see like people just run to the sides, like I've been there. I get where you're coming from, but it's not that bad. It's fine. Yeah. Also, when the wall of death collapses in, those people don't move back in. So now like your pit has taken up so much fucking room.
That happened at Paleface Swiss, where they called for a wall of death, and like then just the entire not that many people were in the wall of death, so then the entire crowd was just off to the side. Yeah. And like it was all like crunched and everything, and it's like that's just so uncomfortable.
And I'm not like a big fan of being in the pit. I've been in the pit once with the
I say twice. Wage War and Whitechapel.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So like we're not like in the pit that often. Like it's not something we really not that we don't enjoy it. Yeah, but I like being on the edge. I really do. Yeah. But I like it being on the edge when it's more consolidated, because then the people start bouncing around better and they bounce off the wall and then bounce back into the center of the pit. If it's this massive fucking pit, it's like they bounce into each other and there's like 20 fucking feet on either side, like all around, where there's nothing going on, just empty space. So I do wish when they would open, it would close back up.
Yeah, with that, like the pit, oftentimes the pit did get really, really huge. And the good thing about the show is it was at the Radius, where there's a huge floor space. And also it wasn't sold out, so there was plenty of room for it to open up and that sort of thing. So, like, again, like the 4 out of 5 bands up to this point called for a wall of death, and it's like, one, you're not wall of death music. Third band, because I don't think the first band did.
I think they
No,
maybe they didn't because there wasn't anybody there. You might be right. You might be
Yeah.
right. If I
get what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
But yeah, it's losing its appeal to me.
Yeah, I think the first time I was going into this, I think the first time I saw the Wall of Death was like 2017, 2018 with Suicide Silence and Lamb of God at that Lamb of God show at Aragon. And Suicide Silence called for, and they're like, we asked for permission from Lamb of God if we can do this. And they said, absolutely. And so that made me think like, you know, kind of like the rowing thing, like that was started by Alma Marth. And it's like now it was at the fucking Sonic Temple or, the Sonic Temple thing or whatever, like during one of the bands they start rowing.
Oh really? They did it during Trivium too.
Trivium, yeah.
We were there for that.
Makes sense if it was like in waves or something.
I don't think it was.
It wasn't.
Though.
No. But anyways.
Anyways,
I get what you're saying with the whole Wall of Death thing, where it's kind of like, okay, kind of over this sort of thing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I prefer Wall of Death over Circle Pit. I think Circle Pit's the stupid fucking. It's dumb. I don't. Why would you run laps?
I've seen some videos though. Like
they look cool, but at the same time, you're running laps.
Yeah.
You don't do that shit in high school.
Yeah.
Like if your gym teacher told you to run a lap, like fuck you, asshole, you fat fuck. Like I'm not running laps, but you know, Randy up there on stage, do a Circle Pit. You're all right. Yeah, let's go run. Like, no, I don't know. Different environments, different vibes, but
yeah,
I do think they look really cool. I think I'm not running a fucking mile. Fuck no.
But with their performance, they were getting done with the Violation. Like that was like the end, and they were even doing the whole like we're gonna tear down and everything.
So I thought their last song, Blue, which was sort of a pseudo encore. I thought that was really cool because I honestly thought they left. Like everybody in the band left except for like the drummer and maybe the pianist.
Yeah.
And the drummer comes out and is like, hey, let's do one more. Hey, we have time. He's trying to call everybody back. And the pianist is like, what the fuck do you want to do?
I think the drummer left because they even said like, oh, the drummer left the band.
No.
Or was that not them?
So that was them. But the drummer goes over and plays the piano and he starts playing Blue. I pick up on that right away. I was like, all right, he's playing Blue.
I didn't pick up on... I heard the melody and I'm like, I know this song. What is it?
Yeah.
Like, but I wasn't picking up on it.
Once everybody from the band did finally come back out and start playing, the drummer jumped off the stage, ran into the pit, and started circle pitting with people.
Oh, is that what happened?
And then they're like, this might be our last show because our drummer just left the band.
Oh, okay.
And then he did a couple laps, did his few laps, did his mile and whatnot. Then he
did his mile.
Then he jumped back up on stage and played the drums for the Blue.
Yeah. But a death metal growl Blue is like the best.
It was fun.
Ever.
It was a lot of fun.
I liked it. I want to know if they have this on Spotify, like if they actually have it recorded.
If they do, I'm definitely adding it to the like. I mean, we're gonna add it anyway, but it's
add their version if they have it.
No, yeah, for sure.
The death metal version is so much better. I mean, I like Blue, like the song from when we were like 8.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
I don't know. I enjoyed that little bit. It felt very genuine, even though it was clearly staged.
Oh yeah, it was staged. Yeah.
But they all left the stage, and like the drummer being like, "Hey, we have time. Let's do one more song," and the pianist being like, "Fuck no, we're done. We're over. What do you mean we have time for one more song?" And then he goes over and plays the piano. Let's play this song.
Yeah.
And then they like look at the crowd like, "You don't want to fucking hear that garbage, do you?" And sure,
and then they went right into it.
I'm assuming they have it recorded.
Yeah,
so.
Probably. One more thing with them. Sorry, I feel like we're talking about them a lot, but they have a shirt that is Ferrari themed.
So I'm definitely a Ferrari fan because of my dad, mostly. Like that's how I got into Ferrari and F1.
F1, yeah.
So yeah, and I can't remember where we saw this. There's like a group on Instagram or something that does
like merch something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we started following because they do like pictures of merch or whatever.
Yeah, and so I saw the shirt there, and it was a Ferrari shirt, and I think it says Fleshgod Apocalypse across the. I don't know where it says it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it's like. Is it on the pocket?
Well, so you have like the Ferrari logo, and then it's like above the logo or something. It says their name. I can't remember exactly. And on the back, it has 666 horsepower or something along those lines. Yep. I was like, holy shit, that shirt's fucking awesome. It touches the things I like. It's Ferrari, it's metal, it's death metal. This is fucking awesome. And again, based on the shirt, I did not expect the sound we got from them.
Oh, yeah.
It also makes sense from them being from Italy that of course they're gonna do Ferrari.
As soon as because she walks out with the Italian flag, and you said immediately, you're like, of course they have Ferrari. They're from Italy.
Yeah. Well, even like the guy that somebody came out ahead of time before they even took the stage and like, hey Chicago, I hear you like Italians. I'm gonna bring a few more out if that's okay with you.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah.
I heard him say that and I was like, all right, there's a couple of the bands, or is this like some sort of chatty thing? What the fuck's this all about?
Yeah.
Not knowing it was for the band, like, because they're from Italy.
I see.
But yeah, all in all, I was shocked by this sound of this band and their name.
Yeah.
And you know what? I fucking loved it. This is, again, I went there for Cradle of Filth. This is probably my second favorite band of the night. Cradle of Filth will be my third, but this is probably my second favorite behind Ni Obliviscaris.
Yeah. I can't believe we haven't heard of Fleshgod Apocalypse after how much we enjoyed Gojira at the Olympics. And it's like almost, it's almost the same.
That operatic aspect and the metal aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very true. And
because we have watched that so many times. I'm surprised it hasn't came up as like,
you
like
would
this,
also like
so
this.
you like this. Yeah.
I'm trying to think now, because around that same time, there were a lot of people doing like shorts and posts on Reddit and whatnot of, if you liked that, you would like these bands as well.
Oh, really? And maybe they were.
And I'm wondering if they were one of them. And it was always one of those, I will go check that out at some point.
Yeah.
And like I just never followed up.
On Instagram or something, yeah.
Let's move on to one of the co-headliners. Again, for me, the reason I was there.
Yeah.
Cradle of Filth.
So Cradle of Filth played To Live Deliciously, Nemesis, She Is a Fire, The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, Malignant Perfection, Cruelty Brought the Orchids, Death Magic for Adepts, and then they ended with Her Ghost in the Fog.
So a quick set. I thought they played a lot longer, but
it was really quick.
They had 50 minutes, I think.
They did, and they played less songs than the opener.
Again, though, different style.
I know,
so.
hardcore versus this. I don't remember much talking, though.
There was some talking for Danny
there?
when he came out and he was trying to get the crowd energized. More of like, let's hear you fucking scream, Chicago. I do feel like there was not a lot of talking, but definitely talking in between songs. So I'm like, let's fucking hear you. You're at a metal show. Let's fucking make some noise. I did hear some of that from him.
Okay. But not like long, drawn out talking.
No, not long, drawn out talking.
Those little talking bits, I feel like, are normal in any show.
Okay.
What I'm saying is like the long, drawn out, like even when we saw Barry Tomorrow, like we enjoyed the talking points, but they were kind of long, drawn out. Yeah.
Super quick set. I really enjoyed it. We got Her Ghost in the Fog. I love that song. One of my favorite songs from them. The Fetamine's another song I really like of theirs. Yeah. It's not it's a much slower song. I think when we saw them in 2019 at House of Blues, that's what they ended with.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think so. I can't remember.
I don't remember that show that much.
I don't either. I remember enjoying that show a lot. That was my first time seeing Cradle of Filth, and I've liked Cradle.
Really?
It was.
Oh my gosh, you used to like listen to them all the time back in like 2004.
Yeah, no, like their band I haven't seen a whole lot of. This is my second time seeing them live. And back in high school, I loved them. I was in art class in high school, and a kid walks into art class, and he was talking about how he got a CD from some college kid on campus that was in town and whatnot. You don't know how that whole thing worked out and whatnot. But he's like, I hate this music. Who the fuck wants it? I was like, I'll take it. And it was like a disc. It looked really cool. The art on it looked really cool. It was in German, I think, so I couldn't tell what the fuck it was. And I think I popped it in my CD player right there in class and started listening to it while we were doing like drawing and whatnot.
Walkman thing.
Yeah. And I was like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Like it starts off very melodic with sort of a classical sort of sound and then goes straight into the hard riffs with the growls. I was like, this is hitting all my itches, all my, my styles of music all coming together here. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. And I take my headphones out and tell him like, this is fucking awesome. Thank you. He's like, no, it's not. That's fucking garbage music. Takes the CD out of my Walkman, takes one of the razors that you use to like cut models up and whatnot with, and starts cutting the shit out of the back of it. Takes a permanent marker, and starts scribbling all over it. And then like throws it back at me and like, here you go, listen to this garbage music now. And I was like, fuck, this is, what the fuck, that was awesome. How the fuck am I going to find this band again? And this was back when Google really didn't have like a translator tool.
Yeah.
So I'm like writing out what I think is German to try to translate to English, which didn't really translate to fucking anything. And then I was able to put it into a CD player, like my computer at home, and it would spin up and it would almost crash like right away, but I got like a song title again in like German or something. So that was what I went off of. And I can't remember exactly how I found it, but eventually I ended up finding out that it was Cradle of Filth, and I found that album. I want to think it was like Cruelty and Lust. It was the song or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I have that CD somewhere around here in the house.
Wait, the broken up one?
Yeah, the broken. I kept it all these years, like as a reminder. Like I spent weeks and weeks trying to figure out what the fuck band this was because I loved it so much. And yeah, so ever since then, I've loved Cradle of Filth. Super happy we got to go see them again. Again, that was the reason I really wanted to go to this show. I do wish it was their own show and we got a longer set. Because I do remember that with the 2019 shows. It was a much longer set, and it felt more... The stage presence, if I remember correctly, the stage presence and sort of ambiance on the stage was a lot more elaborate than this. This was pretty bare bones, I think, in terms of like stage props and whatnot.
Yeah, but I think that's more because of the touring
festival
this, type thing. I mean, that's what I'm calling this, is a touring festival with all the bands and everything. So
yeah, the one thing I will say that they have a new pianist as well up there in the back. She didn't do a whole lot. She was pretty still and not very energetic.
And so before, did the pianist sing the vocal part, I think, during
the female vocal part?
Her ghost. So they had another person come out for that.
No, she didn't sing that. She did amphetamine. She did like the women singing at the beginning, who's in the music video swinging back and forth.
Oh, I thought it was during Her Ghost in the Fall.
There is a talking part during that. But it's sort of supposed to be like this old man, and they did bring him out for this. But
the ogre guy.
The ogre guy.
Yeah, sorry,
a bigger.
It was
man.
a long show.
Yeah.
No, I just in my mind it was like an ogre guy because like it was like a cape and he was like all like.
That's how he is in the music video.
Yeah.
It's also like in a really cold sort of wintry vibe, I think. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah. No, and I shouldn't have said ogre guy, but that's what I thought of because it was like all like.
Yeah, he's got like that. He's supposed to have like that deep sort of storytelling aspect or narrative aspect at the beginning, and then Danny comes in with his vocals high pitched, which the recorded version is fucking perfect. I love that so much. Again, going back to those last two bands we just talked about, you know, that melding in the melodic stuff with the harsh or the high pitched sort of screams, that just fits so well to me. I love it so much. And
that's when I liked Cradle of Filth, was probably 2005-ish.
5, 6-ish, yeah.
With Stay, which is a Shakespeare Sisters song. And I learned about that song in high school by Mrs. Perrineau. She did it as a like poem type thing, and then she showed us the Shakespeare Sisters Stay music video, and it was supposed to be like, what feeling do you get from this poem? What do you think is happening? And then they show us the music video, and I was like, oh my god, I love this song. Brian loves music. Let me show him this song. Like, I want to listen to this. I want to find the CD. Never found the CD for Shakespeare Sisters, but I was like, I want to hear that. Like, I want to listen to this all the time. And I started playing it for you, and you're like, this is Cradle of Filth. And I'm like, no, it's not. But I listened to Stay, Cradle of Filth on, when did we see this? On Friday?
Friday last week,
It was on Saturday when I went to get my hair done. And I listened to it, and it almost is the same exact thing that you were talking about, where it's like the slow melodic, where Shakespeare Sisters are singing the slow melodic part, and then all of a sudden it comes in with the, you know, like the beat and like the growling vocals and everything like that, and it goes so perfectly together. Yeah,
that's a song I'd definitely like to hear live, but you're not going to hear it unless it's their own set, and I don't think you're going to hear it even on their own set.
I don't think so. No.
The other song I want to hear live from them is another cover, Hallowed Be Thy Name.
Oh yeah,
I love their cover of Hallowed Be Thy Name. It's so fucking brilliant. But I don't know, those two songs I don't think I'm ever going to hear live from them, unfortunately.
Probably not.
I do want to go back and see them again for their own set.
Of course, yeah.
It's been a couple of years. It's been 6 years now since we saw them. Maybe 5.5. Yeah.
Have they been back at all?
I don't think they have. Maybe once that we couldn't make it or something. Maybe. I you know what? I do think they were back once, maybe like 2023 or something. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they do come back more often. Yeah. But it was great to see them.
I loved seeing them too, and I think it went perfectly with Obliviscaris, and then Fleshgod Apocalypse, and then Cradle of Filth, and then going back into Dying Fetus.
It was a good sort of stage setup. Now looking back on it, you know, those first three bands, again, not repetitive, but kind of repetitive, and then you get into these middle bands, the middle two bands, kind of repetitive. They were different
in different ways,
but you know, also kind of repetitive, and then you get Cradle of Filth, which is sort of the melding of the two in my mind. You know.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and then you go straight back into Dying Fetus, which is just the hardcore, death metal and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, do we just want to go into Dying Fetus then?
They start with Praise the Lord, Opium of the Masses, Unbridled Fury, In the Trenches, Wrong One to Fuck With, Compulsion for Cruelty, One Shot, One Kill, Your Treachery Will Die With You, Grotesque Impalement, Subjected to a Beating, Into the Cesspool, and they ended with Killing on Adrenaline. And if I remember right, Into the Cesspool and Killing on Adrenaline was kind of like an encore. Was that right? Or not really?
I don't know. Like, they didn't really...
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, they didn't really do, like, a whole proper encore where they leave the stage, I don't think.
Okay.
We had moved back, I think, for almost all their set to, like, the back of the room.
We did. And I don't remember why.
So I went back to get our sweaters at this point because they had turned the air conditioner on. And it was freezing. So we were up there, up toward the front a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I went and got my sweater, put my sweater on, and then you came back, and that's where we just hung back in the back.
Yeah, you're right. Because otherwise it was just so stuffy and hot. Yeah. Like, it was just stuffy. And then they did turn the air on, and then it was like, okay, now I'm freezing. So.
Yeah. As soon as they took the stage, I remembered seeing their backdrop and their name.
Yeah.
And it was like, because we had been talking about this leading up to the show, like, have we seen them? Have we seen them? And we couldn't remember seeing them, but it turns out we actually had seen them.
Yeah. They were at Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Year one being of the rebooted.
Rebooted, yeah. So 2023 Milwaukee Metal Fest. And I think it was day one.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. So obviously everything kind of melding together. Like, I thought the same thing. I'm like, I know we've seen them before. And I went through our concert list multiple times, and I'm like, I know we have seen them, and I just couldn't place it.
Yeah, and I this is about the time I started not feeling so well. This Friday, the day before on Thursday, I wasn't feeling the greatest either. So I've had this cold since then, like half a week or whatnot, and I was kind of just done. I was ready for it to be over, which was really sucks because I did like their music, I liked their set, I liked their performance. We also noticed like the crowd thinned out a lot
after Cradle of Filth. Yeah.
Which is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It wasn't sold out to begin with, but it thinned out a bunch.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's people weren't there to see Dying Fetus, or again, it was a long fucking night.
It was a long night, especially if you got there at 4:00. It's like, 8 hours of music or 7 hours of music.
Yeah. As soon as it was over, we bounced. We started heading home.
Yeah.
I liked their set. I liked their music. We've seen them before. As soon as I saw their name, like the printing, the font and whatnot, I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we've seen these guys.
Yeah.
Just a 3-piece band.
Yeah, it's only a 3-piece band, yeah. Which I kind of don't remember from Milwaukee Metal Fest, but I mean, I'm sure it was only 3 guys then.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've been around forever, like 91, so what, 40 years? 30 years? 30 years. Sorry.
30 years, yeah.
34 years. Math, Karen, come on.
But yeah, all in all, super fucking awesome. The little bit I do remember seeing and enjoying. By this point in the night, I was sort of not checked out. I was definitely there listening to the music, but I was definitely like, I'm tired.
I can agree with that because I don't remember if it was after Cradle of Filth or I think it was. And I kind of turned to you and I'm like, have you ever just thought of like you just want it to be over?
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't mean it in a way of like I don't want to see Dying Fetus, but I was just like, this is a lot. Yeah,
and we've talked about this too. Like, to me, the sweet spot for a show is 3 bands. I love the 3-band sets, or the 3-band bill. There's been a lot of 4-band bills in the last few years that we've gone to.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's always been that way. Like, growing up, it was always a 3-band bill.
Yeah.
Now it seems like the norm is almost 4 bands. This was fucking 7 bands.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? We could have cut out 1 band.
Oh yeah, Vomit Force could have just not been there. That's fine.
Whatever band you did cut out, but you could have cut out a band and then either given a little bit more time to the 2 headliners so they each got 50 minutes, or let them have their 50 minutes and then start an hour later.
Yeah, start at 5:00 or something like that.
So I don't know. It was a lot for sure.
I could definitely tell. I mean, why people didn't really show up until like 6 or 7, because I mean that's a normal concert. And also, like, if you don't want to see the opening bands, like, why show up early? But I was really, really surprised that a lot of people were leaving after Cradle of Filth. Because honestly, I saw a lot of Cradle of Filth shirts, and I remember being in the crowd for Cradle of Filth, and people kind of going apeshit crazy when they went on stage. But then, I mean, it's like, was that many of the crowd really there for just Cradle of Filth? Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
Or, I keep going back to, if you came on public transit, you have to get back downtown then to get on that train to go back to the suburbs.
Yeah.
And I do know that people were talking about the suburbs that were in front of us.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if they draw. I didn't partake in their. I would just eavesdropping. But like they were talking about going to the suburbs and getting on, bringing the train in and all that stuff. So if that is the case, then you need to get back to that train. So that means you have to get back to transit to get downtown to get back to that train. So.
Other highlight that we didn't touch on real quick in between bands we were wandering around. Ran into somebody who was on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
Chatted with them for a bit. That was fucking awesome. Just running into random boat people.
So.
But yeah, that was really cool seeing boat people around.
Yeah. Hopefully we see them on the boat because I think that they're going this year as well.
I think so. That would be really fun.
When we say the boat, it's Headbangers Boat.
The Headbangers Boat, right.
We always say the boat, but.
The venue's awesome. I love the Radius. I love going to the Radius. I thought it was really well set up. Again, the changeovers were really awesome. I had a great night, even though, show and doors were at the same time. Yeah. That threw me for a little bit. Really fast. I did get over it really fast. Yeah. It was one of those things like, this is fucking stupid. You don't have to do this. I kind of get it now.
One other thing that was new for us, because you're talking about the venue, we tried the food.
Oh, we did get the food. We just got mozzarella sticks.
But we've never gotten the food there. So, because they have a little food window that's always open. I think I've always seen it open.
It's always open, yeah.
Always for the shows that we've went to. But it being such a long show, we were like, we'll try the food today. Or,
yeah, it's kind of hard to fuck up fried cheese. And they didn't, but it was good. You can
fuck it up.
It's hard, though. Yeah. Like, it's fried cheese. Yeah.
And we checked out the smoking area.
We did go out to the smoking area.
Because it was fucking hot, and I wanted fresh air, and that was not fresh air. So we went right back inside.
Basically, every place they'd had merch before, they had open now for merch because all the bands.
That's so funny.
Because every time we go, it's like a different setup for merch.
I honestly thought that this merch, because on the Instagram thing, I did see all the merch that they had, and I was like, oh, it's probably going to be in that back area again. But that was that was the coat check again.
Yeah.
I don't know how they decide that.
I don't know. It's so weird. Every time is a different merch setup for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole else to say.
Yeah.
You've brought up a lot that this is a touring festival. Would you consider this a festival?
And I only say that. No, not necessarily, but I only say that because of the number of bands, and like when we go see Decibel, it's 7 bands and that sort of thing. So
that's another point. All right, so there are 2 things real quick before closing out. I was beat by the end of this. I was ready to be done, and which is really a shitty thing to say. Like all the bands were great, outside of Vomit Forth for You. But like the music was great, the crowd was great, the people were fucking awesome, the venue was fucking awesome. It was a good night overall. But I was sort of it was a long night. But when we go to Decibel, it's just as long, and I don't feel as beat. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm constantly drinking alcohol.
Yeah, you're always like moving around and stuff like that. And like I am though. Like even by the end of night 1, I'm like, God damn, we get to do night 2 now.
But we have Milwaukee. We're going to Milwaukee Metal Fest before this gets posted. But we have Milwaukee Metal Fest that we're leaving for tomorrow. Like we're going to Milwaukee tomorrow. Yeah. As of when we're recording this. And I don't necessarily feel that beat during Milwaukee Metal Fest.
I love Milwaukee Metal Fest.
We do have a lot more sitting down. We do sit down a lot more in like the balconies and in the outside area.
The outside area. Yeah, that's really nice.
So maybe that helps as well. It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
I too would not classify this as all I wanted to say there was I don't know why, but I was pretty beat for that, and I don't feel that way with other shows. Other than this was definitely longer.
Yeah. Milwaukee Metal Fest also you're going between stages and stuff, and you're
a lot more walking. Yeah.
Where otherwise, like especially at Decibel, like by the end, like it's so crowded that you're just standing in one spot. You're not moving around. But anyways, sorry.
No, all good. The other thing I was trying to bring up, the whole festival aspect. I would not classify this as a festival either. It does feel like they want it to be a festival type vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know if this used to be a festival, like a longer festival back in the day.
Because it's almost like the Summer Slaughter that what's his name?
Jamie Josta took over.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It may have been a festival back in the day. We'd have to do some research and find that out. But to me, this felt like they don't really they're trying to do too much or
Yeah.
not enough.
Yeah.
They want to be a touring festival, but not a touring festival. Like, either lean into the aspect of being a touring festival, start earlier in the day then.
Yeah. And have another stage. Like,
Have another stage,
yeah.
have more interaction,
'Cause
more
we-
stuff going on in
We
between
talked
the
about
sets.
that. I was like, at the Radius, you could have 2 stages. You could have the inside stage and then an outside stage in that little
Yeah,
park
yep.
or that little area. And we noticed that the Radius now has like tractor trailer. What are those things?
They're starting to
Like
the
containers.
container home type stuff. Yeah.
Like they have those outside, and it looks like it's getting set up for like merch.
Yep.
So maybe they're thinking about doing something
Maybe.
like that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways,
Any hoodles. Overall, really, really good time. Definitely
it was so much
a
fun.
tour I'd check out
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
even though, the little bit of complaints I have, like, it was fucking long. I'll just have
But
to.
now you would know going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully they fix the door and set time shit.
But, that kind of sucks.
A little nitpicky and whatnot there. But all in all, I had a great fucking time. As I said, the venue was awesome. The music was awesome. The people were fucking awesome. Like, great fucking time all around. And
Anyways, go check out some live music. You might get some bands that you think it's going to be completely death metal all night, and you end up with these great melodic progressive metal bands. And
check out all the bands. Yeah, get there
Yeah.
early and check them all out.
and you'll see something that you haven't seen before. So go check out live music, and we'll see you at the next show.
Bye.